Blue Robot from SusanBlueRobot.com. I'm here today with another video of card making. This time I'm doing a 180-degree pop-up card. Today being the 28th of March 2014, I'm only working with the first version of Pop-Up Card Studio that was released, meaning that the 180-degree cards aren't fully functioning, but for those people who cannot wait for the new versions to come out where it's working a bit better, we thought we'd go ahead and make some videos. So we'll get started. I'm using Make the Cut plus Make the Cut's Pop-Up Card Studio, and we'll just find that. Right, so we're going to start off with a 180-degree card, which is you click on this button here. I'm going to have a gap of, say, because I'm doing a single card, I'm going to have a gap of, say, 0.35. That's the gap between here and here. I'm going to have a card width of 5 inches and a card height of 5 inches. Being that I'm making it 5 inches high, that will make it that your cardstock, when cutting, will have to be on a bigger than a 12 by 12 inch card, because it's going to be a 13-inch card. But I'm going to show you two tricks to this. One, to make it and then shrink it down to just under a 3-inch card, 3-inch square card. Or two is to have it so you just glue it at the top. So then your card needed is only 10 inches by 5 inches. And you cut two pieces, the back piece and the front piece. So we'll go ahead and we'll go create, and there we have our card before it started being made. This is your back plane and this is your front planes. This is your back, your front bottom, your front, your rear back, and your rear bottom. So first off, we'll start on the front thing. This is the gap here. Because we've got we're going to have a single word going up, and we want it to pop up. If we had no gap here, this would mean that there's no work area to pull the other one up. Because the folded card would be folded, you'd have a folded card, you'd have it in a folded card, and it would be in the middle here, which means when it opens up to a 180 degree from the folded card, this bit will pull this way and this bit will pull that way, which will mean that it'll go upright. So, and if you didn't have that, of course, there's nothing to pull it up, and you'll open the card and this wording that you want it to pop up will just be flat. It may work the first time, second time, but after the third time, I found that it just stayed flat down through trial and error. So we'll get started. We're going to be working on the back plane for this card. Now I'm going to make a series of 3 pop-up cards in this series before the release. This one is just a simple wording pop-up, and we want to start on a plane of 0. So we're on the front back plane of 0. We're going to bring in a 2-point rectangle or square at this point. Put it on here, and we're going to cover the whole back. So that is going to be a square that is 5 inches wide by 5 inches high. So that's cut out the whole back. So I will just take that back down. So now what we need to do is we need to bring in the word. I'm going to use just Arial for this, and I'm just going to bring in the word hello. Of course, you can do 2 layers as long as they're all welded together so they all touch to bring each other up. Go add. I will have examples cut for different wordings inside the card on this style. I just haven't got around to cropping them yet, cutting them, cropping them, and checking them yet. Right, so first off what I need to do is you see that your O is higher than your other letters. I'm going to do a crop and crop across the bottom so they're all even, and crop a toss across the top so they're all even. Now I'm doing this as a 5-inch card so you can all see how you can do it. Now what I'm going to do is I want to have this with the lock aspect ratio off. I want that exactly 5 inches high, and I pushed enter. Then I want it in the center and down to the bottom plane. So now that covers the whole of the entire card. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this twice, okay, to show you. Now you don't have to do this, but I want to show you something, a trick that I have learned last night. So we're going to create another one exactly the same size. Go create. I'm going to grab them, take a copy of that, and I'm going to put it over here. Paste. No. I'm going to put that on a zero plane. Then I'm going to paste it. Right, we'll come back to that because I want to show you something. Okay, now what we have here is everything selected, and we're going to go Boolean join, and we find out that it's the difference. We go apply. So what we have, if we do a print preview, we have that the tops of the letters are score lines and the bottoms of the letters are score lines, plus between the letters are score lines as well. But of course we don't want them to be score lines, we want them to be cut lines. Well, of course this version of Pop-Up Card Studio is not going to generate this cut for you here. So we go back to our plane and we're going to select that. We're going to do a copy of that. We're going to go to the back plane, the rear back, plane of 0. We'll just spin this around here. Now we go paste in place, flip vertically, and we go in the center down to the bottom plane. So what we have now, if I do a print preview of that, even though this side of the wording's backwards, this is the back of the card. So when they open it, they'll be looking at this side. But it just gives a very nice effect of the card. We go print preview and see how we have all these as score lines, that, and of course down here we have to do tweaking in make the cut. So far, being that this I'm using for these 3 videos version 1, or I think it's version 1.01. Let's see, version 1.0.1 version. So we go, and so that is your completed card, and that's how quick and easy it is to make a very quick wow pop-up card at 180 degrees. Remembering, I stress that there has to be a gap here for the card. So if I was now to go export to SVG, and we go hello, pop up 180, enter. So then what happens is it generates the SVG, and I will take that over to make the cut, and I'll go import. We find that one, we go open. So what we have is a 20-inch high card. Now, at this point in time, I would have told you to chop these in half and turn them into 2, but I've got a trick for that, so we won't do that. Right, so what we need to do is shrink that down to so I can cut one on this mat. So with the aspect ratio, I'm going to go 11.50, enter, and that now fits on my mat to cut that. It is a very small card, but it still very well, and you'll do your card just like that. You go to each its own. So you have your score lines on here and your pop up here. But of course, on your score lines, we'll zoom in so you can see. As you'll see, you don't want this one to be a score line. You want this in the H and the bottom of the E, L, O, O. You want them to be score lines, but you don't want the others. So what we're going to do is we're going to, with the score lines selected, we're going to go break apart. Then this is one of the biggest things with working with the first version of Pop-Up Card Studio. You do have to do node editing. So we're just going to click on this one, right click and go break node. Click on this one, break node on this side. Click on this one, break node, and so on between the letters, and of course between the H center bit. And you go along and you break the nodes. Once you've broken the nodes on both here and down at the other end of the letterings, you can then turn these into cut lines and put them on the cut line layer. Break node. Right, I'll go ahead because I'm videoing this, so you can fast forward if you don't want to see me break every node. Click on the line, go break node with the right button, break node. I have videoed this 3 times now and learned an easier way to do it each time. So I did go back, instead of just editing the video, go back to retape it. And 2 more. This one, break node. Okay, so now we want to split, we want to break, we want to go to select tool, select all of them. We go, I locked this one temporarily so I could just work with the other. I'm going to go break apart. Then I'm going to go along, deselect. I'm going to go along, select with the shift key. I'm going to select all the ones that now need to be cut lines, not score lines. so they're in between the letters. And I'm going to put that on its own layer for the moment, so I can go up and get the next lot. And we got to the top part here. Hold the shift key down and select between the H legs, E, go back to between these E's, and the last one. And I'm going to cut that and paste in place to this layer here. So now if I turn this layer off, you'll see that you've got your score lines here and here. So they are your score lines as well as here. Okay, so now I'm going to turn that off, turn this on and unlock this. Now I'm going to go, and you've got extra lines up here where they're going to cut. You don't need them. You can leave them in, it doesn't make any difference. Or you can node edit, unlock this, and you can just delete those lines up there. Of course not, this is on the cut layer. Okay, so now I'm going to go select all. I'm going to go here, I'm going to change the line style of this. No, of this one. Clicking on this, change the line style to no dashes. And go OK. Then we've got the score lines turned off. We're going to select all, do a join. Then we're going to do a fuse and weld. And we're going to go apply. So now what we have is the cut lines in the right place. So the only other thing is, just for cleanup purposes, I can take these away, just the outer edges of them. So what we have here is we have our card that's going to cut. This here, so these are your score lines and these are your cut lines. And that's your card completed. You would just then have a card that on a different layer, you would bring in a square that is slightly bigger than your card here, giving that we're going to have that gap on that side. Right, that's the card. We want that a folded card. And this is a hint. Unlock this. With that selected, go 200%. 200% up here in the height. We go enter, and that doubles the size of the card. So now that will be your folded card for in here. So this bit sticks into here with that gap in the middle, and this side here sticks in here. And there is your folded card. Of course, you have a score line across here. So that's your card. Now, the other trick is, what I would have done is I would have cut this in half here and just glued these up here. But when we were back here, I took a copy of this one and brought it over to here. This is a trick. We'll select this one, make this 4.99, enter. Lower that to the bottom plane, and in the center, then we take a copy of that, what I'll do is I just want to check something here. Let's cut this. Oh no, that's still right. Okay, so what we do is we now take both of them and we do a Boolean join. Not that one, it must be difference. Okay, we go apply. Then we're going to take a copy of that one. We're going to go to the back plane, rear back. We're going to go paste in place, flip vertically, and in the center and down to the bottom. So we have that. Now, the trick was we took this hello down to 4.99. So those two at the top are not joined. So if we do a print preview here, these aren't joined here. The hellos are not joined at the top. So if we do a export to SVG and we do this to, we call it something different, then I'm going to go over to make the cut, a new project, and I'm going to bring in that SVG and it's 02, bring that in. Now what we have to do is we want that to be cut in the center here. So first off we go to each its own, clean up, right. Now just lock this and turn this one off for the moment. We want to node edit here. Node edit. And we're going to take away this one, delete this one, delete that one, and the two below there, because that stops at the score line. Then we're going to go back to here, select all, and we're going to go break apart. So what we do now is we open this, we go split them apart, and what we want to do is we want to select both of these down the bottom here. So that's why I turned on the score lines and the cut lines. So we are going to move these aside, both together. Last night when I did it, I didn't move the score lines and I got into a bit of a trouble. Right, so now what we do is we take this top line off, cut, and that's how simple and easy. Of course, we've still got to go along here and edit the score lines into cut lines between here, but I'll tell you that doing it this way, if I turn them off and I zoom in here, back over here and zoom in, instead of breaking that all apart, I redid them by holding the control key down, joining between here, between the pieces. It was a lot easier than breaking the nodes and moving them over. Of course, as I said, you will not have this in the next, or when the 180 is fixed. I might even edit the video once it's up and ready. And we select them. And that's it. What we have is we have our score lines. This is our score lines. This one here. So what now you can do is you can put this on its own layer. And you can put this one on its own layer. So you have these two as on one 10 by 5 inch card, and this one, when they're cut, they're just slightly, you just put a little bit of glue just across the very top and glue it to the other one, making sure that you've got your gap when you put it in your folded card. And that made it a lot easier than getting the knife and chopping through here, that's what I was going to show you to do. So it's just a matter of making it that hello at just slightly smaller than the 5 inches. So that concludes this 2 ways of doing this card. And of course, if you put top letters and bottom letters like I had done, and of course I still have not got back to fix this PCS. I'll just bring this over here. In this one, I have the happy and the birthday, and I've made sure that the top letters are welded to every single one somehow of the bottom letters. And so when it's cut and popping up, it's not going to fall apart. It's going to lift each one, the letters that are above, it's going to lift them up. So I will get around to refixing this card. I haven't finished it yet because it was my trial and error one. And I shall cut this one out. I shall cut the 2 hello ones out, and I'll try and have some more samples over the next couple of days after I've done the other videos. This has been Susan Blue Robot at susanbluerobot.com. I hope you enjoyed this video and get something out of it, keeping in mind, once again, once the other versions of Pop-Up Card Studio come out, this will all be a lot easier, fingers crossed. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to purchase Meet the Cart or Pop-Up Card Studio, if you follow links from susanbluerobot.com, you'll help support my blog. Thank you. Bye bye.